Good evening, everyone. Late Night Mega here, and tonight this is another channel update video because I feel like a lot of things are changing on this channel, and I just want to go over them. First, though, if there's a specific part you want to zoom to see the topic that's relevant to your interests, I'm going to put links to the times where I discuss that in the comment section. Instead of doing like 4 or 5 different videos, I'll just do all of my soothing rambling at once, and we'll be on with it. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone who's viewing, subscribing, etc. A couple years ago, I was kind of at a point where I wasn't really playing much as far as video games go anymore, and I kind of lost the excitement of doing that, lost the enjoyment of it. And when I started this channel, I'm like, well, okay, I could play the classic Mega Man games. I enjoy those. I can play them differently. I can show off, such and such things, and share that enjoyment with everyone else. And after that, I was kind of like, okay, well, there's a few other Mega Man games I could upload, and maybe some Mega Man fan games and whatnot, and some hacks. And I wasn't really sure how much I was going to keep doing this. And turns out I'm still really enjoying this. I'm just doing this for fun, and I'm going to continue doing this. In fact, having this channel has kind of reignited my enjoyment of video games in general, and has actually inspired me to go out and start playing new games again, because for a long time I wasn't even buying or playing too many new games. I would buy like maybe 1 or 2 new games for an entire year and still just barely play them. But since starting this channel, especially over the past 6 months or so, I have really come to start to enjoy and get excited about playing new games that I haven't tried before. Possibly games that will be on here and possibly not. Some of them are just games that I've had on my 3DS for a while and just haven't gotten around to playing, and I've gotten back into playing them. And so, yes, I want to thank all of you viewers for that. Okay, now there's going to be some schedule changes. Currently, I'm doing 3 uploads for what I call the main series game a week. Those occurring on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. 2 uploads for this Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, and 2 uploads for RPG days, which those are Tuesdays and Saturdays. And that schedule is okay for the main upload. Right now it's Super Metroid, which we're actually coming close to finishing. And once we finish Super Metroid, I'm going to change the scheduling again. Because looking at it, especially concerning Yu-Gi-Oh! And this concerns the RPGs as well, is that those tend to be a lot longer games. We've been, well, not we, I've been uploading games for Yu-Gi-Oh! Here, or videos for Yu-Gi-Oh! Here, since back in December of last year. And at the rate we're currently going, there's probably going to be at least 100, and I'm just guessing here, 100 plus, 120 plus parts to this thing. And uploading 2 parts a week means we might finish by 2019, and that just seems kind of odd. It's not going to be quite that bad, but so I'm going to change how I do things a little bit. Same with the RPGs. There are... I was supposed to look this up. Okay, so yeah, there are about 35 parts right now to the Final Fantasy IV run, and that's beating the final boss. Not doing anything afterwards, at least not yet. And so 35 parts, doing 2 parts a week, that's, 17 and a half weeks before we finish uploading all of Final Fantasy IV. And that also seems a little bit kind of dragging things on a little bit longer than I would prefer. I mean, I realize that there's 35 parts, but if I did them all back to back, you know, you're talking like just over a month, and we'd have the whole thing done, as opposed to 17 weeks, which is like gonna be 4.5 months. So I don't really want to stretch things out that far. So how I'm going to do this is the following. I'm going to change the RPG days to Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, so doing 3 uploads a week. I think that'll be a bit more reasonable. If you think, since those videos tend to be 25 to 30 minutes, if you think that's too much time of my soothing voice in 1 week, let me know about that in the comments section. But otherwise, yeah, we'll plan on having 3 RPG days, and then the other 4 days of the week will be uploads of the other main series game. Right now it's Metroid, or Super Metroid, and so when we finish that, we'll be doing Metroid Fusion. And so where Yu-Gi-Oh fits on this is I'm not going to abandon the game. I do want to complete all of the story mode duels, minus the DLC, of course. But I'm going to finish the GX saga, and then I'm going to take a break from the Yu-Gi-Oh for a little bit, maybe a month or two, or however long it takes to upload Metroid Fusion and maybe the game that comes after that. Then when I do Yu-Gi-Oh again, it will be considered a main series game in place of the days that aren't RPG days. And so then I'd do all of 5Ds, and I'd consider that like a whole section of the game, or a whole game on its own. And then I'd take another break from Yu-Gi-Oh! And then come back to it and do the Zexal thing, and so on and so forth. So it still might take a long time for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing to get fully uploaded, but it's going to be a little bit more consistent as to when the uploads are happening, instead of just, hey, let's upload a Yu-Gi-Oh video, because I don't think I've done that in like 4 days. And so yeah, and it's gonna have well over 100 parts by the end of it. Magic the Gathering. Unfortunately, if you're here, if you've come to this channel due to some of the deck techs I've done for the modern format, I don't have anything new coming down the pipeline anytime soon. No plans for anything. In fact, I haven't even been playing Modern. The format's just become kind of stale for me, like kind of I've done it all right now, and there's just a lot of variety in Modern, but a lot of things that I just don't like dealing with. And I don't really have any sort of new deck ideas that I think are going to be better than any of the decks that I've already made. For example, take all the decks in Modern, all the main archetypes, and divide them into 3 groups for any given control deck. One group could be the deck's favorable matchups, one group could be the kind of toss-up 50-50 matchups, could go either way, and then the other group being the unfavorable matchups. And, you know, I can create a control deck that might be good against Burn and Tron and Merfolk, and have those as favorable matchups, but then lose to Eldrazi or be weaker to Jund in that. And so I could come up with a new control idea for Modern. In fact, I do have several, but looking at them, I don't see how they would perform better against certain groups of decks that one of my other control decks aren't already good or better at doing, if that makes sense to you guys. So I don't really have any plans for Magic down the line. I am still playing Magic, though. I've been doing some Sealed League stuff. Got a really crazy Sealed League pool involving 2 Glory Bringers and a Ronus. Yeah, it went about as you would expect it would for my opponents. It was just silly. So yeah, I am still playing the game, just not. I'm just not heavily into Constructed right now. Zelda Breath of the Wild. We return to this thing, and we we can still draw the happy squiggles around the sword in that. So I have played a little bit of this game, and I've seen a little bit of it. So it wouldn't be completely blind if I did this, but the issue here is that, what I have seen in the game, and it's not necessarily just a Zelda, not just a Breath of the Wild issue, but more so of Nintendo Switch issue, this thing right up here. Because, you see, one trend that's been going on with Nintendo consoles, and this has been going back to the Super NES era, is that they'll have maybe 1 or 2 games for each of their major franchises on their system, and then that's about it. I mean, just look at the Wii. You had Skyward Sword as the Wii exclusive title, and then you had Twilight Princess, which was on Wii and the GameCube, so you can consider that 1.5 Zelda games for the Wii. On the GameCube, you had Twilight Princess, and you had Wind Waker. Yeah, you had some other releases with collections and stuff, but that wasn't new. And that wasn't the collections aren't something that's exclusive to that console. So, yeah, and you look at the Metroid, how many Metroid games did we have on the Super Nintendo? 1. Super Metroid, which we're playing now. How many Metroid games did we have on the GameCube? 2. We had Metroid Prime 1 and 2. How many did we have on the N64? None. And so this is kind of a trend for Nintendo franchises. And so, do I want to buy a Nintendo Switch for potentially just a small handful of games, when meanwhile I'm looking at this other game that's come out, Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age. And so I'm starting to look at getting a PlayStation 4. In fact, I've already got 7 titles listed that I would enjoy playing, most of them being Final Fantasy games, most of which inspired by me, wanting to play new games again, such as Final Fantasy Type 0 and Final Fantasy 15. Don't know if I would be recording them. I probably would, just because it's becoming quite fun to record the RPGs as well. But the Zodiac Age, I'm excited for this because it has a job class system, and we're not quite at the point yet in the Final Fantasy IV uploads where I start talking about the other Final Fantasy games in the franchise and ranking them. But I'll give you a little spoiler alert. I ranked Final Fantasy XII pretty low on the list, mainly due to the license board and how every character could learn and do everything at the same time, and I didn't like that sort of customization. But the Zodiac Age brings about this job class system where you have 12 jobs that you can have, and each character can be assigned 1 job, and then they can get a secondary job to mix in there as well. So they can have a mix of 2 jobs. That is the sort of customization that I love, and in fact it reminds me a lot of the Final Fantasy Tactics job system customization, which is my personal favorite job class system in the Final Fantasy series. So I'm excited to play 12 again. And so I might be getting that, might be getting those other Final Fantasies. Some other games that I'm not sure I would record. Maybe one of them I would, but so yeah, I'm leaning more towards getting a PlayStation 4 over a Nintendo Switch at this point. And so you might be seeing that stuff coming down the line. I know Final Fantasy XII is a massive game. If that's that is something that will take up several months, even if I was going at like 5 or 6 uploads a week on that. I don't think I'd do that intense. But so yeah, that's kind of what I've been planning on. If you want to see more Final Fantasy or more RPGs in general, I will have shoutouts at the end of the Final Fantasy IV uploads and halfway through the next Final Fantasy game that I'm recording. I'm still in the process of recording that game, which I am enjoying, but it's taking a bit longer due to some of the things I have to go through in that game, and I'm doing a lot of stuff off camera as well. That'll make sense later, but I'm not going to spoil what that game is because it's kind of a surprise. I don't think it's something anyone's going to really see coming. But so yeah, if you guys want to see more of that, let me know in the comments below if you want to see more RPGs. I've got a whole slew of them that I could record as well, and I would enjoy doing. So yeah, I know those are going to be longer uploads, but yeah, I've been enjoying it. Hopefully you guys find that enjoyment as well. And who knows, so whatever brings you to this channel, I just want to thank you guys once again, and hope you continue coming to this channel, whether you come here for the Mega Man games, or for the Zelda games, or for the Yu-Gi-Oh, or everything. Maybe you just like everything I do, which that's awesome. I appreciate it. So yeah, you can expect to see more of everything. uh, oh, one more note. Going back to the Zelda, I do want to. Hey, our drawing is still here. Uh, However, not doing Breath of the Wild here. This doesn't mean it's the end of the Zelda franchise for this channel. I do want to try. I am considering trying a minimalist run of Twilight Princess. I've never done a minimalist run of that game before, and depending on how that goes, I might even be tempted to do a minimalist of Wind Waker, which that'll be really interesting because I haven't played that game since I first beat it, and I've never made it through a whole second run. I did a couple attempts after that, but didn't even get halfway through. So minimalist run on that could be really interesting as well. But I do feel somewhat comfortable doing a minimalist challenge on the 3D Zelda games. So there's that to look forward to, and there's still other Zelda games I haven't played yet, like Link's Awakening, Oracle of Seasons in Ages, Zelda Classic. I think I might have mentioned that on the last channel update I did of doing something with Zelda Classic. I still want to do that. That's somewhere way down the lines still. I would do more of the mainstream Zelda games before I did that, but I do want to do that sometime eventually. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline, as well as some games that I'm playing blindly right now. In fact, the Final Fantasy I'm playing right now is... Oh, I just made another spoiler. We'll just yeah. That's how we're going to end this channel update. So thank you once again for being one of these birds watching me in the distance up here. And, you know, let's get back to our regularly scheduled video game uploads.